I work at Count's Customs as the head painter and artist. My name is Ryan. To work on bikes is something I love. I've loved two wheels since I was knee-high. Ryan Evans worked quietly for years to count cars. He didn't say much, but his work spoke for itself. No one else could paint cars as well as he could. Each pattern and line was just right. After that, he was never seen again. There was no goodbye or answer. They were just gone. How did Ryan Evans get away? Let's get started. Gone without saying a word. Ryan Evans is one of the most recognizable names in the world of custom cars. He never tried to be the biggest person in the room. That was never his style. Others sped up their cars and told jokes for the camera, but Ryan stayed in the back and was quiet, focused, and exact. Ryan wasn't just another person in the shop when it came to counting cars. He was what the art was made of. Every unique flame, every intricate skull, and every bright flash of color typically came from his hands. Danny the Count Coker brought the vibe and charm, but Ryan's finish made the whole thing memorable. They worked on different parts of the machine at the same time, but they got it to work. This is why, when Ryan disappeared from the screen, people saw that he was working on a motorbike tank with his eyes closed and his hands still. After that, he was gone. There was no goodbye, message, or last picture of him, wiping his hands and leaving. Nothing but silence. It didn't make sense to people who had been following him for more than 10 years. The store was still open, and Danny still came in, but the man with the paint had left. Some folks asked questions. He seemed to be sick of the cameras. What went on behind the scenes? Ryan and the show didn't say anything publicly. His Instagram posts slowed down, and he quit going to car shows. Ryan was not like other people. He didn't make any noise in a noisy world. He never sought fame or attention. That could be why he left when it got too bright. He might have needed some space. He might not have wanted fame at all. He is mostly a secret now. Fans still want them to come back. They still want to know about him. His impact on the show hasn't changed. All of those crazy rides and perfect endings, those are his print marks. He might talk one day, or he might just keep making art away from the cameras, the way he likes it. What happened that the man behind the paint was no longer there? We'll explain everything soon. Watch out, how Ryan got on the car. The boy Ryan. Evans was born in Los Angeles, USA. As a child, he liked to draw a skateboard and do anything that had wheels. After that, he went to Las Vegas, where there were lots of handmade bikes and cars. The chances to do something brave were also gone. Ryan was never after attention. He didn't want to be on TV. Ryan was drawing for a long time before the press came. In Las Vegas, he was known as the person who could make art out of metal. That was a clean, precise, and unique style of his. He did more than paint cars. He used color in his works. Danny the Count Coker was running his shop, Count's Customs, and going on Pawn Stars every once in a while. He had a lot of drive. He liked strong-willed things like cars, bikes, music, and people. Dan said yes when the network offered to help him make his show, but he would need a strong group of people to work with him. There had to be people who could build and create for real, not just TV. That's when Ryan showed up. They had met before, but Ryan's paint job stood out because Vegas wasn't a big place for people who build their own cars. He had seen Ryan's bikes and cars and knew right away that he was different. Ryan made designs that were balanced in every way. Every head and flame looked like it belonged there. It was Danny who brought him in. It was only meant to help with drawing at first. These people liked Ryan after seeing how good he was. In no time, Ryan fit in with the show's pace. He was not chosen to be an actress. He was hired like a plumber. He didn't do intros or screen tests. He started to show up in the background, can paint, spray, and make things look better. Viewers became aware over time. He didn't talk much, but what he did say was important. He was real, which made people like him. Danny had a lot of energy on screen. Ryan made things better. They made each other stronger. There was the rock and roll car guy and the artist who kept things real, even when the builds got crazy. There was more time on camera for Ryan. Fans learned his name bit by bit. They were interested in him after seeing his work. That's how Ryan joined counting cars. No big plan or desire for fame. Just skill meeting the right time, not just a paintbrush. Ryan only needed that to make a car into something great. He wasn't loud. He wasn't flashy. He did some work. He spoke through paint. Ryan had found his way long before the show started. He was able to combine art and tools in a way that most people couldn't. He had a smart mind. He saw even more clearly than before. He could put out a spark so smoothly that it seemed like it was made by a machine. It wasn't just for looks that he worked. It had a story. It took more than just cars and jokes to start counting cars. There had to be style, and Ryan gave it. He wasn't broad-eye to make people laugh. He was brought in to make things. Dan Coker played the rock star, and Ryan stayed calm, still, and focused. They made each other stronger. Ryan had a quiet but strong style. He didn't need trouble to get recognized. He let the work do the talking. He used candy paint, flames, skulls, and ghosts to make art. Ryan always came through, even when the idea was crazy or the timeline was very short. He always did a great job, which is why Danny trusted him with the most important jobs. You might remember him putting on a flat hat, black gloves, and a hoodie stained with paint. Always locked in and working. He was always seen with a small smile, a dry joke, or a sharp remark right after making a great design. He signed that as his name. Ryan chose to stay behind the scenes instead of trying to get on TV like other people did. Something changed over time. People began to look forward to the paint jobs. They came for the action and stayed for the art. Fans loved Ryan even though he didn't try. A lot of people wanted to get his autograph at events and shows. Ryan's lines were sometimes just as long as Danny's. Some people came with shirts, helmets, and even their cars in the hopes that Ryan would paint them. His ideas meant something to them, and his work had touched them. These were no longer just cars. They were memories, and you can't fake that kind of link. It's possible that what made Ryan stand out on camera was also what made it hard for him to stay there. He did everything he could for his job. Every job was unique. Not fame, but greatness was what he was after. For some fans, meeting the man who made old cars look like works of art was enough. He never did anything star-like. Ryan was always nice to people who came up to him, kept quiet, and even thanked them. He smiled all the time. Still, it was clear that he wasn't trying to get attention. He's never had. He loved his job so much. Ryan saw every ride as a painting. He took care of that canvas like it was something important, whether it was a gas tank or an old muscle car. Fame wasn't as important as the work. That was always clear, but things started to get different. The timetable got tighter. Things that used to take weeks were now done in just a few days. Some people could change or find ways to save time, but Ryan never did either. He gave each job his full attention, and it takes time to make art like that. He lost some of the things that made his work feel right when he lost that time. Fans and people who lived close to the shop began to notice. By 2021, something didn't seem right. Ryan was on screen less and less. He wasn't always there. Sometimes he was just in the background. His face wasn't shown much in the last shots of a build or during the big reveal. Fan sites quickly caught on. In car chat rooms, fan pages, and YouTube comments, the same question kept coming up. Where is Ryan? The show didn't answer. He just stopped. A lot of people didn't know why Ryan Evans wasn't on Counting Cars for a long time. Work just doesn't feel right. He didn't say anything, and the show didn't explain. There was no farewell, scene or word for the fans. He was just not there one day. A lot of people thought it was just a short break at first. He could have been working on something in the background. Maybe he was sick or on the road. But as the episodes went on, Ryan still wasn't on. People started to believe what they were seeing. The online boards get busy. Fan pages began to guess. Where is Ryan? It became the most common thing people said under old videos and pictures. People filled in the holes because no one had a clear answer. Some people thought he had a fight with Danny the Count Coker. They might not have agreed on money. Some people thought that he got tired of the cameras and the stress of being on TV. Some people were even afraid about his health, but that was never proven. There were also more rumors. Some people said Ryan had started his painting business. Some people thought he had gone to work for another well-known builder somewhere else in Las Vegas. One idea was that he had left the city and was now living a quieter life away from everyone else. All of these were never proven, but more and more people thought about them the longer. He wasn't on TV. Even more confusing was the fact that Counting Cars never talked about it. No farewell scene or on-air goodbye, and neither the crew nor the players said anything. There was no sound. Fans did notice those little things, though. The quiet made it seem like he had disappeared. Ryan had always been quiet. He wasn't trying to get attention. It didn't seem strange when he stopped talking, until it went on for too long. Over time, not in a big story, but in little things that people around him told him, the truth started to come out. Ryan was fine, according to people who were close to the Las Vegas car accident. The thing he loved most, painting, was still going on. Just for TV, he wasn't doing it anymore. A lot of the people who worked with him said it was because of time. Ryan was free to make things in the early days of Counting Cars. The painting wasn't rushed. He had time to fix things. Every part was looked over, and each plan had a purpose. It was like an art form to him, and the directors let him do it because they knew the end result would be worth the wait. Television did change, though. The pace sped up as the show became more famous. More shows had to be filmed, and there were. More due dates and stress. Things that used to take weeks had to be finished in just a few days. Ryan tried to keep up, but the change was hard for someone who cared so much about the little things. He did more than paint. He made things. Something changed when that level of care could no longer be given. Painting cars while under a lot of stress is nothing new. Many builders have to work with tight schedules, but for Ryan, the work was more than that. Something didn't feel right if he couldn't give it his full attention. Not at all. He didn't want to do it if he couldn't look at the piece and be proud of it. It was too fast for him to keep up with TV. Fans thought it was fun, but behind the scenes, it felt like work. He was still painting, but the work didn't satisfy him as much as it used to. The fun of making things was replaced by the need to get them done quickly. The unique parts of his work started to fade away. Ryan's art was never just about the color of metal. It was about using art to make people feel something, tell a story, and connect with each other. The meaning went away when that link started to break down. Ryan might have been able to stay and get used to things. He might have been able to give up more work or go with the flow, but that wasn't who he was. He didn't want to just finish a job. He wished to create something unique. It wasn't easy to leave. He helped make the show look the way it did for years, and his work was a big part of what made Counting Cars stand out. But in the end, he picked peace over stress. It wasn't about money or fame. Ryan never seemed interested in either of them. He wasn't interested in popular videos or events from reality TV. He was interested in the paint and how it felt to get it just right. He took a step back when that was no longer possible. There are still people who want an answer that is clear. People want Ryan to say something, but he hasn't yet, and maybe he never will. In a way, that quiet says everything. It wasn't a big deal when he decided to leave. It was a quiet choice. A way to keep his skill from changing into something he didn't like. People who have seen him lately say that he seems to be happy. He keeps painting and works with local builders on some projects and helps teach other artists. The work is still going on. They are only in the cams. Ryan's life now goes at his own speed. There are no bosses or schedules that force him to cut corners. It's just him, his tools, and the metal in front of him. Some people think he might go back to TV one day. He hasn't said it's not possible. He has said that he would think about it, but only if the structure lets him be himself. That means no breaks, no acting, just the work. If that happens, his friends will be glad to see him again right away. It's okay if it doesn't, though. He's already made his mark. People still see his paint job on the streets. Young artists who are learning the trade are still shaped by his work. Ryan didn't make his choice to give up. It had to do with knowing his limits. That has a lot of power. People are often told to keep going, but Ryan did the opposite. He took a break. He paid attention to himself. When the happiness began to fade, he took a step back. That takes guts. A lot of people don't know when to leave. They keep going even when the thing they love makes them tired. Ryan knew it was going to happen, so he quietly left his job before it took away everything he loved about it. He didn't leave a press statement behind. He left something behind. His painting work still moves people. Even now, people watch his films again. People who study his style still talk about him in groups, shows, and shops. Ryan did something very special for us. It's fine to pick quality over speed. You don't have to worry too much, and you can leave the work if it doesn't feel right. After Ryan Evans left, someone quietly stopped counting cars. When he did this, something changed. It didn't just feel different in the shop. The show changed. It was hard to explain at first. There were still loud engines, crazy paint jobs, and that Vegas vibe in the show. The show's heart still felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted. Danny the Count Coker still walked in with shades and a swagger, and the shop crew still worked on cool cars. Fans who had seen it before noticed right away, but not everyone could say for sure what it was. Some people said it didn't feel Thiessen. For so,